Hi beautiful people, Melissa Wiringi here. So I'm really excited. I have been through a huge journey the last 2 years and I've shared bits and pieces about it but not the full thing. I don't really know why I haven't shared it all. I think maybe there's a little bit of a fear of judgment or worried about what other people will think. Or maybe that might make me not credible in doing mindset work and things like that. I don't really know. What I do know is I have tried to share a little about the challenges that I've had in the way, especially of money mindset. I've talked a little bit about my history with money and that I haven't always had a really good relationship with money. And early this year, or actually late last year, I stepped into something new. So I'm going to give you, this first video might be a little bit longer than the rest, but I want to give you a bit of an update of where I'm at, because when I very first started this YouTube channel, it was all about freedom, having it all, living the life that you love. And I don't know, as time went on, I kind of got pushed and shoved and I let myself be led into ways that sort of, not so much ways, I guess, people kept saying, just choose one thing, Melissa, just choose one thing, and I couldn't bring me down to one thing, and I really struggled with that for quite some time. So what happened was, when I started out, my very first idea for my business was that I wanted to help people do online business. I wanted to help people escape the 9-to-5 life. I wanted to help people free themselves from our modern day slavery. That was something that I was so passionate about, and I guess, well, I was so passionate about it, yet I didn't have a way or a proven result on it. So this is my why. Come, Elijah, come. My why is my babies. I have 3. Currently, 2 of them are with their auntie, so I have just 1.
Take my t-shirt off.
Yes, okay, I'll take your t-shirt. Arms up. And I wanted a business that I could work around my babies. So with my first idea, it was a great idea. It truly was, you know. I envisaged lots of people coming to me, and I would help them get their website set up, and I would help them pick a thing of what they were good at, and I had all the ideas. I just had no execution. I had no idea how to bring people to me. I had no idea how to do anything. So I gave it roughly about 6 months, and it really wasn't working. And then there was another online entrepreneur who I trusted. She's been in the sorry. She had been on the in the world of online business for quite some time. You want to put those shorts back on? Okay.
Yeah,
I'm
going in there.
So she just said, take what you're already good at and market that, right? So heaps of my skill set is in business systems and knowledge management. So I thought, okay, yeah, I can do that. But I wasn't really altogether that passionate. How exciting is selling business systems and helping people with goals? I just found that whole thing a little bit boring. It really wasn't very, didn't have that air of freedom or free-spiritedness that I love. So, I don't know, wasn't that passionate. I coached a few people in that time, and it was rewarding, but at the same time, I felt like I don't feel coachy. I didn't align with coach. I would see what they were doing, and I'd be like, you need to do this, and I just didn't have questioning as one of my strong points. I tried, and I'd try and not tell people. I'd try and let them sort of work it out for themselves, but I just didn't feel effective. I was like, these guys are going to take forever to work this out. I learned so much, so I'll share some of what I know on that front through this YouTube. So I got to the end of 2017, and I had put out my book at the end of October, domestic violence on ice, an inspirational story, and it was my story. And again, I didn't align with it. So it was my story, and in that sense I aligned with it, but it was so, it was an inspirational story, but it kind of didn't click into, like, now I'm, a person working with people on business systems. Like, that didn't connect. There was no connection. And I got to the end of the year and I was like, right, I'm just going to shift into like mindset, because like a person that I had worked with that was in branding, she had picked out, like a big part of my journey had been transforming my mindset. And I am good at that. I do get the whole thing of mindset. Again, I don't know that I really believed in it. So in 2017, at the end of the year, I really burnt out. Like, when you're being an online coach or an online service provider, you've got pressure. You constantly need to be putting yourself out there every day. You need to be posting in this group and that group. And you can't just post the same thing in this group and that group and that group. You have to post different stuff everywhere. And I was burnt out. I was tired. My little Elijah that you just saw, he's now 2.5. He's only just started sleeping through the night, maybe 2 nights a week. So back at that point, he wasn't sleeping through. So I was just really tired. I was faced with a lot of nights where I wouldn't get a full night's rest. And then I was trying to schedule like discovery calls, and people don't always say yes. And so I understood that that was a part and parcel of giving a service online or doing any kind of business. People are always going to say no. So I was pretty accepting of that. I don't see myself as a pushy salesman, never have been, never will be. Like, if it's not for them, if they don't jump in, if they're not saying yes, like, I'm the last person to be like, oh, but you need this. Like, that's for you to decide, not for me. So I never really had the arm twisty thing. And so I let a lot of people just walk away, and I was fine with that. It didn't really bother me that much, but it bothered my bank account a lot. So another little mindset shift that I needed to work through was that, like, I would try and do my coaching in the evenings, because my baby would be the most settled and most likely, but not guaranteed, to sleep in the evenings. And so part of that adventure was he would wake up in the midst of coaching calls. And so again, I felt really strongly, like, I didn't feel confident to charge high ticket for coaching when a baby was going to be interrupting. So I was like stuck in this like vortexy spot where I wanted to charge, $10,000 packages, but I didn't feel that I should or could, because I knew he was waking up. And then on the other hand of that, it was like, if I was charging that and if I was getting enough people through, then perhaps my husband could quit his job and then it wouldn't be so much of a problem. But we weren't there yet, and I was racking up debt, and it wasn't happening. So part of that adventure was I got a VA on board, and stuff rocketed in that time. Like, I loved having my VA. She was an absolute godsend. Jamie, if you ever watch this, I still love you to pieces. She was amazing. Like, I cannot ever thank her enough for the work she did. And I was paying her, and I really didn't have enough clients to justify the spend. And so after a few months of that, I literally ran out of money. My bank account started saying no, and the only way to say yes to anything at that point was credit card. So where do I go from there? So that was the end of 2017, and so 2018 I just decided, blank, start fresh. I'm going to step back from my business and just work on myself, do my personal development again for a time. In 2017, I'd also invested in a speaking program, which I got to do in 2018 in February. And so I leaned into all of that personal development space. I focused on my speaking. I thought maybe I could grow my speaking business. Maybe I had a few illusions about that, because, I needed money like very quickly, and with that kind of business it does take a little bit to build, especially with your content.
Mom, I didn't put more in that.
That's okay, you can put some water in. So I also had some little issues about like kids, because I homeschool. It wasn't with speaking. I wanted to speak, and I did attempt. I sent like 400, 500 emails. I spent hours and hours and hours emailing schools and things like that to try and get my foot in a door. And there was this realization that I was a little bit limited, that I needed to preferably be somewhere that was driving distance, and recognizing that I'm just getting started. So a lot of it, I wasn't feeling confident to charge a full speaking rate. Nor were schools willing to pay me a full speaking rate because I was just starting. I had that question like, how many of you have spoken at, and have you got any references and all that jazz. So although I wanted to go and speak for free, I actually financially couldn't. I wasn't in a position to drive out 200 kilometers, return and leave my kids with a babysitter and not get any pay for that. So I stepped back because I felt like I was pushing. I'd spent hours and hours and hours and hours, and it wasn't leading me anywhere. I just felt like I was banging against a door. And I think in my heart of hearts, I know that it's not, I'm not saying you should give up, because I don't believe in giving up. I just believe that sometimes when you're pushing and you're pushing and you're pushing and you're pushing, and it's bringing you close to tears because you're like, I've spent 400 emails and phone calls and follow-ups and nothing is progressing. Like, I haven't even had a slither of a yes. It got to a point, I won't say it was disheartening, because I'm prepared to go through all of that again with what I'm doing now. It's just that the process of that was so time consuming, and then even for me to have been at the end of all that, even if one of those 400 had said, yes, we're going to pay you $3,000, I still would have felt not abundant, for sure. Like, I would have gone, well, I spent, probably 20 hours trying to get the one yes, and now I have to give up a whole nother entire day to go and speak with driving, and I have to organise childcare. Like, for me, it didn't stack up, and perhaps, if I persisted with it, then perhaps it would eventually stack up. I don't know, but I wasn't prepared for that game. I was like, no, I'm just going to step away from this and come back to it later on, or maybe it will come to me later on. I don't know how that's going to go down. And so I'd done a few speaking gigs where I've been up on stage at charities and a couple of events. Really enjoyed it. Like, I love jumping on stage and sharing my story and inspiring. It's a bloody wonderful feel. I can't work the rest of my life for free. And I made that decision. I made that call. So 2018, I basically stepped away from my business, focused on speaking and my kids. I did a lot more with my babies, enjoyed homeschooling. And so, yeah, I didn't push it. I didn't market myself. I wasn't promoting myself. And I was in a really shit space financially. We moved to this beautiful beach town that I now live in, Nora Head, in October, and that was like the best move for us. I'm now walking distance to the ocean. I can hear it at night. We can see the lighthouse flash every couple of minutes. I'm in my element again. I love it. I'm so happy, so fulfilled, so grateful to be living the life that we live. However, our rent was now $100 more a week than it was, which is not a significant amount, but we were already at that phase of not really being able to save. So while my husband does beautifully, he makes a lot of money, he works a lot of overtime too. My whole goal of starting my business was to set him free, and that really wasn't getting any closer doing what I was doing. I realized I had to do something different. I had no choice. I had $10,000 owing on my credit card. I was tired. I was stressed out. I needed to do my website again. I needed to do funnels. I had this nurture series sitting in the back end of my email system that just was never getting anywhere. I just had so much on my plate and not enough time, not enough hours in the day to do it. I could do it at night, but then, I was eating into my actual sleep time. I didn't have enough time to do my personal development. I was slacking off on my writing. I've got a second book that's nearly finished, and I couldn't find the hours to finish it. So I felt really sad that it had come to this point where every month my author payment, because I do an author program, it would come out and it couldn't come out. Like, I'd get this email every month, your payment has been declined again. You're going to try it again in another 2 days. And sometimes I get like 4 of these emails and I check and I go, no, like, this isn't me. Like, I've never paid anything late in my life. But all of a sudden in 2018, I was paying everything late. Like, nothing was coming out on time. I just was scrambling to find money from everywhere or anywhere. And, you know, I had said to my husband, because I knew I was getting into these coaching programs and like my author program and the speaking program and having my business mentor and things, I knew that spending that money to help my brain just expand and learn the things and the skills that I needed to know to help me succeed in my business, it was worthwhile. Like, do I regret having $10,000 debt on my credit card? Hell no. Would I do it again? Hell yes. Maybe I would do it a little bit differently. I don't know. But with what I know today, I would definitely hell yes to the credit card debt, but hell yes, only do it on the system that I'm now running with. Because what I learned was there's so much to do. And when you're a homeschooling mum with 2 big kids, 1 baby, and everyone wants your attention all the time, I couldn't give my business realistically 7 to 10 hours a day. Like, that level was burning me out sort of regularly. I didn't talk about that a lot. So in end of November, early December, I was starting to look for a job. Like, that's the truth of it all. I'd hit a point where my credit card was freaking me out. I didn't feel comfortable being in 10 grand debt because I didn't know where money was even going to come from. Like, how was I even going to get a $3,000 client? If I got one, what was I even going to do with them? Like, I didn't feel confident. Didn't feel confident at all. And so I knew my friends. I've got some friends I've known for like 12 years, and they've never done a business up until 2018. They'd never had an online business, never done anything business-wise. They weren't really motivated by freedom. They sort of thought what I was up to was a bit weird. But anyway, besides that, they decided to jump in on an online business. And that was only a few months ago. All of a sudden, my friend's husband quit his job, and he's in the same industry as my husband. They have 7 kids, 1 on the way, and it made me kind of do a double take. I was like, hold on, I've been slugging my guts out, burning out, struggling to find clients. I don't feel like I know what I'm doing. My ad account got shut down at the end of 2017 because of some boost post they suggested, and that stuffed my Facebook ads. I didn't have the energy to be organically growing, like posting everywhere all the time. I didn't want to be on social media. I was over it. Like, and then I saw them, and he quit his job, and I was just like, they must be doing okay, whatever they're doing. And I sort of like took a tentative look, and I freaked out. I was like, they're in a scam. They're selling hot air. Like, I didn't really take much on board in the early stage. But eventually I sort of thought, well, hold on, they're making money online. They're not working a shit ton of hours. I've been at mine for 2 years. I'm not making any money. So obviously they're doing something right and I'm doing something wrong. Or either that or, you know, all these people that are quitting their jobs and their businesses are just crazy. I don't know. So anyway, I leaned in a little bit and watched their video. I didn't take away like a feeling of like I really want in now. Like I didn't have that like boom moment. But it was my good friend, her brother, because he's the one that was in this business first, and he had sort of started earlier in 2018. And they did a post, and it was like a big launch thing, and they sort of talked about their journey in the business. And the thing is, I know her brother from like a long time ago, and he was quite a mess, and he didn't seem like the kind of guy that would go into a business and like do really well, although maybe on some other level. But they were doing really well, and you know, they talked about their $25,000 a month. They had built up from that, you know, they'd been building that for a long time, and they took their kids, 4 of their kids, to Tokyo Disneyland. And I think like my heart broke a little bit because I think it was about 2014 or 15, somewhere around there, I'd said, I really want to take my kids to Tokyo Disney. And then I looked at my kids and they're now like 10 and 11, and I was like, I still haven't got anywhere near that, That is a little bit shattering for me to see that these guys were literally struggling in December of 2017. And there they were in November 2018, not even a full 12 months in business, and they were financially free and able to do that. So I saw that, and I told my husband, you know what, they're making money online. I'm not. I need to go and at least look at what they're doing. And if I think it's a good thing, I'll give it a go. And my husband supported that. Like, he's been the biggest challenge of the last 2 years, hearing him go, when are you going to make some money? When are we going to see this money come back? He's been one of the most difficult parts of my business. So to hear him say, yes, I don't really want you to go and get a job. Like, I like you at home, looking after our kids. That was a really special moment. And that was December. I was scared when I got in. But then the minute I paid that $99, I knew if I didn't like it, I would get my money back. So I wasn't really worried too much about that. I was just scared about what was on offer. But the minute I paid the money and I just went straight in because I wanted to know everything about it. And I did all of the training, I did all the advisory process, I did everything in a matter of hours pretty much. I think I'd only left like one part for the following day because I ran out of time. But within that first 24 hours, I knew that it was the right business for me. Within 24 hours, I knew 100% that was going to be the vehicle that is going to take us to Spain. I knew it was going to be the vehicle that was going to allow us to have our freedom. So this is my journey that I'm documenting. This business is heavily personal development based. So if you're scared of diving in on yourself, actually it's even more of an incentive for you to try. No results are guaranteed. As with any business, you have to put the work in. Nothing just comes handed to you on a silver platter. If you sit around with your finger up your ass, well, you're just going to be sitting around with your finger up your ass because it's no one's going to sell for you. The beauty of what I love about this business is that I sell me. I sell my values. I sell me as a homeschooling mum who loves freedom. I sell us as family, as travellers, like that I believe in my husband. I believe he is going to be finished his work. Like I know he's going to hand in his resignation at the end of March. I know that this business can fulfill all of my dreams and much faster than anything else that I was looking at previously. How do I know this? Well, when I went in, I looked at, there's a Facebook group, and I saw the amount of people succeeding. Simple as that. If you are in a group that is not actually that big in the grand scheme of things, and you see that many people succeed, and you look at yourself, and if you say, yes, I'm going to succeed, and you commit to that, you are going to succeed in this business. Like, there is without a doubt, no doubt about it, you will. It's all in your action, it's all in your determination, it's in your focus and your persistence. So I got down and dirty, and I love this business because it's all automated. So, for the last probably 12 months before I started, I wasn't journaling enough. I would do a page here and a page there. I wasn't like, this is my 2019 journal. We're 8 days in. That's how much writing and journaling I've got through this year. Only this year. So 7-8 days, 1 week. I couldn't do that in my last business because I felt like when I was journaling, that was taking away time from doing all the other stuff that I needed to do. So what have I been doing in this business? Well, one of the perks of being in it was I got access to a shit ton of audio books. And I'm so sorry. Kathy, if you're watching this, I apologize for being resistant to audiobooks. Kathy was one of my coaches that I spent money I didn't have on in 2018 because I was determined to work with her, and I don't regret it. It was really good work. I did lots of soul work with her. And I was really resistant to audiobooks because I don't learn through my ears. I learn by visual. I like to read and I like to write it out. The problem with wanting to read and write it out was that my prime opportunity to read is like sitting in bed at night and I can't turn the light on because I've got two sleeping guys next to me, my baby and my husband. And so I wasn't getting, like, there wasn't dedicated time to do that reading, like, and it was sort of like not happening. So I was doing a lot of listening to YouTubes, like Abraham Hicks and stuff, and Bob Proctor. Like I've done his paradigm shift and stuff. I worked really hard last year. But this year I got all of these really great audio books, and so I started on my money mindset again. I've done this a few times in my life. So if I go right back, wealth creation has always been a huge thing in my life. Like, I grew up in a home where there was a lot of wealth, but a lot of, I'm not going to say unhappiness. Maybe it was unhappy. I don't know, but it lacked joy. It lacked bubble. It didn't have the big, great feel of abundance. It wasn't lots of people walking around smiling all the time, and hugs and kisses and smiles and love. I didn't feel that, okay? Maybe it was there and I just can't remember it right. I don't know, but that's a side story. So I grew up with financial wealth. And and so I was curious about it. You know, my dad wanted me to have a job. My biggest dream was, you know, as a girl, I wanted to be an author, and he told me, no, you can't be an author because I don't make any money. I'm an author anyway. So far, he's right, but not for long. I'll be making money off that book before I know it. Aside from author not being a really good option for me, it was like generally like get a job, right? And so I was like, okay, well, what job's going to make money? And I always knew that there would be money to be made online, or like, you know, doing something. My dad was always like, just go be like a website developer or something. And so I studied programming and did a lot with computers. But again, it wasn't passionate. And where was I going with that? But I was always interested in wealth and wealth creation. So I was like 18 and I'd read like Rich Dad, Poor Dad series, and I'd studied so much on property investment because I thought that was so much more clever. You know, I'd watched my dad slog. Like, my dad's an entrepreneur and he's had a few businesses, so I've watched him over the years just working really hard, and being my love language is quality time. So I really struggled with that because he wasn't present. So I looked at stuff like more passive income type things. I was 18 and I was reading stuff like Think and Grow Rich and You Can Win Friends and Influence People and things like that, right? But I never, I guess I didn't take it in, like, I read it, but I wasn't yet an action taker, go-getter yet. Okay, so I knew a lot, but I hadn't taken action. Okay, go play with the hose again. Go play with the hose. So that was always something that I'd been fascinated with, and over the years, I mean, I've read heaps of books on like things like property investing and the cash flow quadrant and investing and stuff. So 2018, I started Money Mindset a little bit, but I was also doing a spiritual journey, and so I did a Course in Miracles, which I'm about 2/3 of the way through. I'm up to about day 260-ish, somewhere around there. So I've got about 165 days to go of A Course in Miracles, and I guess I started last year by reading Unshakable by Tony Robbins, which was a big book about money and investing, and I really enjoyed that. I highly recommend it if you're new to investing and want to learn about a really good safe investment option. So I started there, and I decided I'm going to read Think and Grow Rich again, and this time I'm going to take more action on it. And I think that was about the third attempt of reading it, because I think I tried reading it in about 2016 as well. And I read it, And I mostly wrote it out, and I looked at it every day, and I was making a lot of progress with it, but nothing, there was still something blocking me. I couldn't tell you then what it was. Maybe it was just this looming $10,000 debt that just wouldn't leave. It was just there permanently. Like every time I'd pay off a little bit of it, there was another payment coming off it. So I really struggled with money. I didn't always struggle with money just since I was an entrepreneur. Like when I was working, we didn't struggle because we had 2 incomes, so pretty much most of one income would just go into savings. Like that was easy. It was once I became an entrepreneur and we were living on the 1 income, I struggled like nothing I've ever struggled before. It's been really difficult. And in some aspects a bit demeaning. Like I'm completely reliant mostly on my husband, which is scary. I don't like the feeling of dependence upon other people, and neither does he, but the strategy is one that I get to repay the work, I guess, once we get this business to the level that we want, which I'm hoping is around March or April. Then he gets to go and make music, and I will have the skills to teach him to market his own business. So we win-win. I don't know that he'll make as much as what I'm going to make in this business, because it's going to take him a lot longer to grow it. But then he's also limited in he's unlimited in what he can make with his music once he's grown his audience, which I keep telling him he should have started this years ago, and he still hasn't started yet. So we'll see how he goes. But yeah, so that was a little bit about where I've been, or like how my journey has gone so far. Now, up to December, I sort of had been stop-start on the money mindset, because I felt a little bit, I guess I was in 2 minds about wealth creation and like this thing, the love, learning through love, Course in Miracles, which doesn't talk about the financial side of things so much. And I kind of, I don't know, I just stuck with it. So I just let the love lead for a long time. And basically it got to this crunch point where I'm like, okay, so I've invested in this new business. I'm going to do well. I don't care what anybody else says. And I kept hearing stories of people, doing 5-figure months, like not that long after they'd started. I go, okay, I'm going to be this person. How am I going to be this person? So I started reading or listening to these audiobooks that I have heaps of these available now. I started out with The Richest Man in Babylon, which was one that one of my first business mentors recommended really, really highly, and I recommend that for anyone. And then I went to You Are a Badass at Making Money by Jen Sincero. That was just wonderful. I've listened to a lot of that. I listened to The Law of Divine Compensation by Marianne Williamson, which I've listened to like 3 times. I loved it. And I'm currently listening to The Secret of the Millionaire Mind. So I just started reading, or about halfway through reading or listening to The Secret of the Millionaire Mind. T. Harv Eker. This one is completely bending whatever bullshit stories I had in there. It's made a huge difference. Now, on top of all of this, I've been doing a couple of challenges within my new business, which has also been extending me. I've been doing so much training and personal development the last month. It's been incredible. You need to see my house, and I'm not going to take you around right now because I'm on my laptop, but I'll do another post another day about things that you need to change. If you want to see different results, you've got to do different things. And that's what I keep telling my husband, because he's like looking around the house like, what the heck's going on? Like, I have, you'll see later on, my walls just don't look like
Spider-Man!
they definitely don't look like your average house anymore. So I started doing that. I've got pages of I love money, money loves me. I do my money dance in the morning. I have just pictures of abundance everywhere, reminding me that I'm abundant. What else am I doing differently? I'm doing so much. I've got post-its telling me I deserve $25,000 everywhere in my house. I've changed something that I read ages ago, gold mine. I changed all my passwords to say that I was, manifesting a certain amount each month. And then randomly yesterday afternoon, I got a message come through to say that I had a mail from the government. And I'm a little bit nervous about when I get these, because they're usually emailing me telling me that they've overpaid me and I have a debt to pay with them. And so I opened it and I manifested 10 grand. So that had dropped into my account, and that meant that most of my credit card was paid off. I put a little bit across into a bank account which I have for some ads that I want to be running this year, and I put a little bit into a savings account, because the key thing that I took away from The Richest Man in Babylon was you have to put away 10% of every little bit that comes your way. So my credit card's almost paid off. It's day 8 of 2019, and I started on day 1 of 2019 10 grand under, so I'm excited. What's scary in this business is it's focused on your leads, so the leads that you get through. I mentioned earlier, late in 2017, my Facebook ads got shut down, and so back then I was an ad account amateur. So I had set my ads account up through my personal Facebook page. I had no idea that there was such thing as a business manager back then when I set mine up. I ran my ads through my personal account and they got shut down, and it was permanently disabled, which meant like no amount of pleading or like I've taken all my posts down, like I tried everything, there was no going back, like it was never coming back. And with this business, it's kind of because we're attraction affiliate marketers, a big part of that is how we do our advertising to attract new people, because you can't sell to the same people all the time, because that's just boring, right? So so that's been a bit of a challenge, to be honest. Like if I had never done internet business before and never screwed my ad account, then I would have had ads running like 4 weeks ago. But because of the situation, I tried setting up a naughty Facebook account. So I kind of made up a name with all me and my kids' names in it and merged it together. And I was doing really well for the first day, and then they said, no, you can't access this account until you send a photo. And that got shut down. So then I was at this place where I was like, okay, well, I'm going to have to get someone aside from me to set up my Facebook ads or a business manager account through them, do a whole new Facebook page. And it was kind of like in the too hard basket, because where I live, like the kind of people that I want to set this up for me, I only really want family to do that. I don't want to be just asking one of my neighbours that I don't know for that long. I've only lived here since October. Like, I don't want to be like, hey, can you set me up a business manager page? Like, that's a bit odd. So I felt like it needed to be some of my family, and I don't have family here, so that was holding me back. And my husband didn't have a Facebook page or Facebook personal page at all, so I just felt stuck. I was like, I want to do ads, but this is something I need somebody else to help me with this. And I got to this breaking point, and I was just like, you know what? I'm just going to do it on my husband. Sorry, husband. So he now has Facebook, and he's been priding himself for the last 5-7 years of not having Facebook. So I forced him to make a Facebook page, and I've done it all through him. Sorry, husband. But anyway, all in the name of success, right? So we did that. And then I've set up my page, set up my business manager properly this time. So even if I have trouble, I shouldn't be completely banned, which will be great. So we did that, and that was awesome. And the next little hurdle was that, because I got my ad account shut down, and it was in 2017, I couldn't remember like what credit cards I'd tried, and they're like, you know, you cannot put on a card that you've already used before. And I was like, I think I might have used my PayPal. Don't know which. I know I used my Amex, but that doesn't work anymore anyway. Probably used my Visa. It's probably about a 95% chance I tried my husband's cards in the process. So I was really like, don't want to use any of the cards that we currently have in our house. I had to set up a whole new bank account. And then I thought, well, I should get a joint bank account, so I've got 2 cards there to use if need be. So I set up a joint bank account, and then I had to it was just a process. The whole thing has been crazy. I have sorted it. So we have another bank account and a card on its way. And I will have ads running next week, and that will be great. So how's this business going for me, right? So I have about 4 or 5 people that are really keen. I've got one that's a yes, but I'm just waiting for things to go through. I've got one that he's pretty yes. I have to just chase a couple of people. And then I've got a few randoms in my funnel, and I don't even know where they've come from. And so that's really exciting because I've posted on like Instagram and Facebook pretty much every day since I started. And I've got randoms in there. So the system works. It's just that, you know, 5 or 6 randoms.
Aren't the whole one with the blade?
Is going to take me a little time.
It's called Wreck-It Ralph.
Oh, it's Wreck-It Ralph.
Yeah.
So it's going to take, I'm hoping that by running ads, the leads come through a little bit faster, and with the systems that they've taught us, it's going to be a lot easier to do than doing it purely on my own. Yes, I'm really excited. I'm a little bit nervous because, you know, like I've been in it almost a month now, and I haven't you know, converted anyone as such. But in saying that, I know I'm not the only one that runs a business with kids. And I think a lot of us do choose this business so that we can stay at home with our children, right? In my ideal world, I wouldn't have YouTube posts with babies falling into swimming pools and crying and that stuff going on in the background, but that's my reality. Until he gets bigger, I actually don't have choice. And if I'm going to be online every day, which I want to do, I'm going to try and make this like a progress. These Beyblades. I really want to share my journey, my wealthy woman in progress. I don't know what you want, son. I've just put on a whole one. It is a whole one of Beyblades. That's Beyblades. That's Beyblades. That's what you want. So yeah, I'm sorry that's ended up being 48 minutes, but I will try and crop bits down. And I'm sorry that I've got now a crying baby in the background. But that's why we've taken up this business. Like, I don't actually have to do a lot. I just have to show up every day. So my journey is that I'm documenting is my journey to $100,000 of profit this year. And my goal is to just start accumulating some actual net worth because, you know, I've had money come, I've had money go, but I never wanted to buy a house because I don't want to be tied to a house. We've had savings. I bought a car. I don't have like that kind of repayment going on. We don't have money going out for like cars or HPs or credit finance stuff. Like, we're pretty good like that. Our money goes on travel. Like, that's what we want to do. I suppose, given that this kid's having tantrum now, I should get off. But yeah, so this YouTube is now like, so it's all about freedom. It's all about getting, you know, you can have it all, because I've believed that from the get-go. So this is not going to really change. It's just that I want to share my ups and downs. And so this first one is a long one because I want to be upfront and I want to be truthful. And I'm going to try and check in at least, you know, 2 or 3 times a week. If I can do it every day, that's awesome. I may have crying babies in the background sometimes. mum life, hey. Alright, ciao. That was me.